Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great and I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Today, welcome to the day 2 of DP 900 Bootcamp. This is Lakshit Pant, myself Lakshit Pant, and I'm a dev relation engineer at Azure Developer Community. And today we are having our expert speaker Amrish Ganguly sir. Let me give a brief about Amrish Ganguly sir work. He's 22. He's having incredible experience of 22 years in TCS, and he's multi into Microsoft Cloud certified and having an and he's multi-faced personality who is also working as a content creator, as a YouTuber, and he's been in multi domains and cloud. So he's the perfect person to host you the session. So over to you, Amrish sir.
Thank you for the generous introduction. Hmm. So, how many people have joined till now?
uh, Sir, right now we have 21 people here.
21.
Yes sir.
21. So, let's wait because yesterday there was 30 people. So, the other 9 people, they have gone away or they will join.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Hmm. So, let's wait for 5 minutes. And then what we will do is that we'll start. But this time, what we will do is that um, we will do some demos. And Lakshit, if you could please also show the channel also, because that channel I am talking more. So this is a DP 900 Azure Data Fundamentals um, series. But what is going to happen is that if this is your first certification, then it's very good. Please do not stop here. After that, if you want to go into the data scientist path, you should study data science. This channel will help you. Then there is DP100 for Azure Data Scientist. If you want to go for a data engineering, there is also the DP some 2005 is there, a data engineer associate. So that is there. If you go for a solution architect, there are also some exams. So please do not stop after giving this exam. And one request is, after you give this exam, let me know your result, how much, how did you fare in that exam, and how this has helped you. It would be nice to hear from all of you. And this channel will also help you in this. So we will wait for another 2 to 3 minutes. So we will complete the sessions today, everything today, and then and this should prepare you for the rest of the session. Okay, so let's start. How many people now?
Sir, 25 people.
Okay. So people will be joining. Okay, let me wait for 2 minutes more. I just want to give people 2 minutes more, so that because this is an interesting thing. What I will do is I will do a demo. Do a demo. So so this is a relational database. Okay, relational database. You can do a SQL database. So let's start. SQL database. You can create a SQL database. Okay. So how you create a SQL database? You go to SQL database. You create a SQL database. Then this, you choose your subscription. If you don't have a resource group, you create a resource group. Say suppose I create a resource group AGRG. Okay. It's a new resource group. I'll create a database name. So database is maybe AGDB 007. Select a server. You create a server. Maybe you create a server AGDB. Okay, it is there. Use SQL authentication. Server login is maybe AG. I will password. Your password. Okay. So no elastic pool, general purpose, can configure the database, make it very costly it is. So um, can we change the configuration? We do this very simple database. This is all things. We'll make it very simple. 32 GB. I do not require 32 GB. We, it is becoming very costly. Anyways, let me just do it just like that. Local redundant backup storage, networking, leave as it is, security, not now. All these things remain as default. Additional settings, maybe I'll use the sample data, tags, review and create. Okay. This is how this, if I click OK, it will do a create, but I am not going to create it, but this is how you can create it. So this is how you can create a database. So very simple, right? So I am getting the data source here. So very easy to do. I'm not putting the defender. I'm not doing any ledger, anything. Network connectivity is this. Uh, and this is how we are creating it. So this is how you can create it. If you create this, this will go ahead and create the database. So this is how you can create a database. Okay. So this is what is creating a database is there. Might as well create it if might as well create this. It will take some time actually to create. Okay. So let it create. Let us go ahead and see what are the other ones. So you saw all these things that we had given for the database. All those things. This is theory and connectivity from within Azure. So what it does is that an application establishes a connection to the Azure SQL database through a gateway. All requests will go directly into the database. But if it is not there, then it will go through the gateway and connect to the database. Uh, So if it is from outside of Azure, it will go through the gateway and connect to the database. This is what authentication. So there is mixed mode authentication. So that is what there is. You can do a SQL Server authentication as well as Active Directory authentication. So this is the Active Directory authentication that you can do using Windows authentication. So these are the various ways in which you can do this authentication. So you see that here, these are the limited server admins. So there are two kinds of authentication: SQL Server authentication and the Windows authentication. Uh, authentication is there. So there is also a concept of RBAC. So RBAC is what? RBAC has three concepts. So there is a concept of a security principle. What it is, a security principle is not a user. It is an object. It can be an application which represents a user or a service that is requesting access to an Azure resource. A role is a collection of permissions. Scope is a list of the set of resources that access applies to. So this is the RBAC. So I just showed you of how you can do. So let's see whether it has already created or not. So the deployment is going on. So this is a read replica which can happen. What happens is that, say suppose you have a primary server and you want to have, in case of disaster recovery, you want to have certain replicas in a different Azure region, so that when there is a disaster in the primary is region, then you can the read replica can be used, and it can fail over and you can do do applications can access that. But there is a delay in replicating from the primary server to the read replica. So this is where this read replicas is helpful. Whenever there is a disaster, you can connect to the read replica. Okay. Okay. Now is the querying part. So we can. So this is very important. So what are the different types of SQL statements? You have a DML, which is a select, insert, update, and delete. DML is used to query and manipulate the data. Then there is another kind of SQL, which is a DDL, which is used to define the database objects. That means you can create a table, alter a table, drop a table, rename a table, or you can create a stored procedure, alter a stored procedure, drop a stored procedure, rename a stored procedure. So please make sure that it is a different type of SQL statement. Then there is a DCL, which is a data control language, which is used to manage security permissions, which is like you are granting access to a table, revoking access, or denying access to a table. So these are the different data control languages. I will pause here. Please take a moment to understand this because this is quite important from the exam point of view. So this is what is we have given. Select is there, group by. So example of a select statement, we are seeing that here what it is doing, it is grouping by employee ID and the year, where the customer ID is 71 and it is having a count which is greater than 1, order by employee ID and order year. So this is a good example in which there is a group by, having, and an order by. Have a look at it. If you are very familiar with SQL, so there is nothing fancy about it. If you are not, have a look at that. Select from where group by, having, and order by is there. Insert is there, in which you can insert values. Insert into values are there. So create, alter, drop, rename. That is what we have understood. You can create a table. So this is how you are creating a table. These are the different tools that you can do. You can do through the pSQL from the Azure Cloud Shell, or you can do to Azure Data Studio. Then there is MySQL Workbench also you can do. Okay. So let's see whether this is done or not. This is done. So this is my database. It's done. So can I query? This says some place. Yes, query editor is there. So let me log in. Hope I remembered the password. What it is saying, anyways, it is not allowing me. Okay, allow. So there is a security rule. It is not allowing my IP. So I will allow it. See, it was not allowing me. Now it should allow me. So this is allowing me. So I can run queries here. So this is the, say suppose I use this. So I can use select. Hmm. So simple. You can do all these things. Customer, where, title, where is this title? Where title has some, maybe it starts with A. Nothing starts with A. Okay. Starts with S. Senior. Well, there's simple queries that we can do. So this is what it is, mm, the queries and all these things. So I think this is was a very simple thing. So what I will do is that I will delete this one because it is a very costly thing. Okay. So this more or less completes a relational database kind of thing. Next, what we will do is that we will move to the next section. So um, next section. So explore non-relational data in Azure. Lakshit, you are able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Lakshit, you are able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Ha. So this was about the relational database. Hmm. So now what we will do is that we will go and see the non-relational data. Okay. So non-relational data is very simple. So the agenda is explore non-relational data services in Azure, explore provisioning and deploying non-relational data services in Azure, manage non-relational data stores in Azure. So explore use cases and management benefits of using Azure Table Storage, explore use cases and management benefits of using Azure Blob Storage, explore use cases and management benefits of using Azure File Storage, and explore use cases and management benefits of using Azure Cosmos DB. So this is the Azure Table Storage. It is a key value pair, and you see that there is key and there is value, but it is not like a relational data store. So this is having different types of data here in one place. So you see that it is not uniform. So this is an Azure Table Storage. The blob storage is best for storing binary objects like files and all these things, and the blob which has a maximum size of 4.7 TB, best for storing large discrete binary objects that changes infrequently. Each individual block can store around 100 MB of data. A blob can contain 50,000 blocks. The page blob, it is around 8 terabyte of data. Is organized into a fixed size of 512 byte pages used to implement virtual disk storage for virtual machines. And then there is an append blob, which is a maximum size, which is just over 195 GB blob, but it is used to optimize append operation. Each individual block can store up to 4 MB of data. So these are the different types of things. Azure file storage is when you are having a file share and you want to transfer between a file share and and a file share in the cloud, use the Azure file storage. And the most important thing is that you can use this SMB protocol to share files. It can share up to 100 terabyte of data in a single storage account. A fully managed service, data is replicated locally and is encrypted at rest. So this is the Azure file storage. Cosmos DB is a very interesting database we were talking. It is a multi-model. Hello? Hello. Sorry. Sorry. Yes. Azure Cosmos DB is a multi-model NoSQL database management system. Cosmos DB manages data as a partitioned set of documents. It is a NoSQL. So previously, what was happening is that we have relational databases where it was optimized for storage, but these NoSQL databases, they are not optimized for storage. They are optimized for compute, and they are very good when you are ingesting data at a very fast speed, and we'll see very good use cases in them. So there is a real-time access with fast read and write latencies. It takes advantage of Azure's scaling and storage capabilities. We'll see the different use cases. So here, what it is used in? It is used in web and retail, as we were talking, web applications. And the most important thing is that achieve less than 10 millisecond response time. Similarly, this type of thing, gaming that we were seeing, so these like personalized content, leaderboards, very fast response times. So gaming, that is where it is being used. It is also good for IoT scenarios in which you have to capture real time data. So this is a great use case in these type of scenarios. So just be aware that Cosmos DB is being used in these kind of scenarios. So what are the elements of an Azure table storage key? Table name and column name, partition key and row key, or the row number? Interesting. I would say partition key and row key. Okay, I am right. So this is what. So here you see that there was a row key and a partition key. When should you use a blob and when should you use a page blob? Okay. Use a blob for unstructured data that requires a random access to perform reads and writes. Use a page blob for discrete objects that rarely change. Use a blob for active data stored during the hot access tier and a page blob for data stored using the cool or archive access tiers. Use a page block for blobs that require random read and write access, use a blob for discrete objects that change infrequently. So let's go back and if to just to revise. So this is a good one to implement virtual disk, right? So this would be a good thing for virtual disk, right? So something that for virtual machines, but which is not changing, I'll use a blob. So if I go here, so here it says that change infrequently, right? This changes infrequently. So this is changing and that require random read and write access. So this would be the one. Um, why might you use Azure file storage? So file storage we were discussing, right? We have on-premises data and we would share it with users at other sites. So that would be mm, okay. So enable users at different sites to share files. Yes. So this is a good one in which you should use Azure file storage. You are building a system that monitors the temperature through a set of office blocks and sets air conditioning in each room in each block to maintain pleasant ambient temperature. Your system has to manage the air conditioning in several thousand buildings spread across the country or region. Each building typically contains at least 100 air conditioned rooms. What type of NoSQL data store is most appropriate for capturing the temperature data to enable it to be processed quickly? So here it is very easy, right? These two are not NoSQL, Azure file storage and Azure blob storage. So NoSQL, you see the keyword out here. So it should be Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, explore provisioning and deploying non-relational data services in Azure. Okay, so we'll see how to provision Cosmos DB. I'll show you. Okay, okay, I'll show you this also. I'll show you this also. The storage accounts. Okay, so this is more of practical. I will show you these two things. You guys are with me, right? It is afternoon, so you had your cup of so Akshat, you are able to hear me, right? I'm just having a check. Hello, hello, you are able to hear me, right? Okay, 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 thank you. Okay, I will go to the next section, that is I'll show you the portal. So this is a Cosmos DB. So I'll show you the Cosmos DB. So you can create a Cosmos DB. So here you can choose the API which suits your workload. So there are different types of API. There is a SQL API. There is a Cosmos DB API for MongoDB. There is a Cassandra API. There is an Azure table. There is a graph. So you can create here. Can create a resource group. account name AG Cosmos DB. Next, global distribution, I'm disabling it. Networking all, backup policy, encryption, tags, review and create. Okay, what is missing? Oh, not available. Okay, let me change the name. So it is creating the Cosmos DB. So it will create the Cosmos DB here. What we will do is that this is a long session, so we will take a break maybe at after 30 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we'll come back again. Very heavy session. So Cosmos DB is happening. So you can see of how I can create a Cosmos DB very easily. It takes some time. Similarly, I can create a storage account also in the similar way. I have to choose a group, storage account. Redundancy, I can make it locally redundant. Data protection, I can make it. Encryption, I can make. Tags, also this. I'll show you one more thing. Here, a data lake Gen 2. This is, if you do this, you can have hierarchical namespace. This is a important thing for if you want. This is the latest version, so you have to click this button. If you want blob storage, you can do. For blob storage, you can have these things. For Azure files, you can have these. You can create a storage account in this manner. Okay, let us see. So this Cosmos DB. So let this storage account be created, and the Cosmos DB. If you go to Cosmos DB, you will see the Cosmos DB is there. So what you can do here is that you can go here and go to Data Explorer. You can start with a sample. Okay. Uh, let's do this way. If I want to create a container, so what it would do is that you have to create a database. So let's name my database say uh, oh okay, So I clicked on it. So it had created for me. So if it had created, I wanted it to create. So that's good, because otherwise the data won't be there. So let us see whether it has created anything or not. Data Explorer. Okay, so it created this database. This is a sample DB, which is a database. And this is a container, which is a persons. And you have items here. And the good thing is that if you see the items here, you will see first name, age, and all these are items. This is another item. This is another item. So you see that these are the different types of items. So this was a database. This is a database. And within the database, there is a container. So within the database, you can create new containers also. You can create a new container also. Use existing. I can use an existing. So sample DB was a database. I can make my own database. So database, maybe I can name it. I can name a new container, say Ambarish. Partition key is ID, and this 2000 maybe. And create another container. Okay, it requires 4000. Okay, 1000. Okay, okay, okay. The other one is not allowing me because uh, this one has, I think, a high throughput or something. So that's why it is perhaps not allowing me. So basically, what I wanted to show you is that in Cosmos DB, there is a database, there is a container, and there is several items. In one database, you can have several more containers. You can have different more containers also you can have. And within this container, you can have items here. You can have also stored procedures here. You can have user-defined functions. You can have triggers. So this is a brief about the Cosmos DB that you can have. Okay, let's go to the storage here. So this is a storage account you have created, and within this storage account, you can have containers, you can have file shares, you can create a file share to this. Okay, I'm not creating this file share. You can have queues, you can have tables also. So this is in a way that you can do all these types of things in the storage account. So this is a good way in which you can do the practicals of Cosmos DB. Okay, so we have finished this. Let us go through the questions. So what is provisioning? Act of running series of tasks that a service provider performs to create and configure a service, providing other users access to an existing service, tuning a service to improve performance. Because this one would be the thing, because you are creating a service. What is mm, security principle? So security principle, we understood that it is something that it can be a user, it can be a group or a service which is requiring access to an Azure resource. So which of the following is an advantage of using multi-region replication with Cosmos DB? So Cosmos DB is a multi-region database. That means the data is in one region and it gets replicated into another region. So that what would happen is that if suppose for some odd reason there is something wrong going on in one part of the world and the data center out there is being destroyed, just like wars or any earthquakes or anything in which you have no control, then the data will always be available. So basically what it means is that the data is always available, so availability is increased. So this is what is the thing. um, so we saw this upload data to Cosmos DB and learn how to query its data. So you see, we saw that in Cosmos DB you'll have these types of APIs: SQL API, MongoDB API, Cassandra API, Gremlin API, and Table API. Okay, so there are different types of consistencies in Cosmos DB, which we can see here. So this is the session consistency. The session consistency is most widely used consistency level, both for single region as well as global distributed applications. What happens is that because it is a global, it is a distributed database, right? So what is happening is that you are updating in one region, and the data may not be updated immediately in another region. So that's why there is a time lag between it. So the strong consistency means that whenever if you read the data from any region, it will be the same thing. It will be the same thing. So this is a very strong consistency, and it is it is a bit costly, as well as it might not be very performant. And the other one, which is the last one, which is the eventual consistency, that means it is the weakest form of consistency. So if you read the data from one region and immediately you read the data from another region, the data may not be the same because it is taking some time to replicate. So that is why you see here that what is happening. So West US is having some data. West US rights are here. Central US, it's slightly different here. So this is what is the eventual consistency. So data may not be the same. Ultimately, it will be the same, but at any one point of time, it might not be the same. But in between, there are different kinds of consistency. The most default consistency, which is there, which is a session consistency. That means it is consistency is widely used for both single region. It is very consistent. In a single region, the reads and writes are very consistent. There are other consistencies like bounded stillness and the consistent prefix are also there. But you understand, right? Because it is a NoSQL database. If it were a relational database, at any point, if you read at any point, always the reads will be, you will get the same information. But in a NoSQL database, because of high availability, it is taking some time to replicate from one region to the other region. So there is a time lag. So if you read uh, immediately, it may not be the same for eventual, but for strong, it will always be the same. So this is what is the eventual consistency. These details will not is not would not be there too much. These are some of the queries that you can do on querying Cosmos DB. Uh, so select count star from products, select sum, or p dot quantity from products, or p dot expired. It is very similar actually that you can use the SQL API in Cosmos DB. More or less, we have seen this part, the Cosmos DB part, and you can see, you can practice on your own these type of things. This is the data explorer. You can delete this also. you can go ahead. Not finding. This is a container. I'm just trying to find out. So these are the different items. So this is one item. I can delete this item also. Oh, this one is a delete. You can delete this item. So you can delete these items. Can create a new database also. Okay. So this database has some limitations. Otherwise, you can create a new account also and create another database in this manner. You can delete this account and you can create another account also. One thing to note here is that when you are creating the account, you must choose the API that is to be mm, that is to be used for this Cosmos DB. Okay. So in summary, what is Cosmos DB? It is a NoSQL database. It has got an account. You can choose the API when you are going to take the account. So it can be a SQL API, it can be a Gremlin API, it can be a Cassandra API, it can be a MongoDB API. And then you can choose, you can create a database, you can then create a container, and in the container you can have items. So this is about the Cosmos DB. I'll just pause here and I'll see if there are any questions. Any questions you are having?
No, sir, we don't have any questions so far.
No questions.
No, sir, we don't have any questions.
Okay. So uh, so did you guys understand what we saw? The Cosmos DB is a NoSQL database. We saw the storage account also, and all these things we saw. We gave some demos also. And the thing that is to be remembered in Cosmos DB, it is a NoSQL database. Uh, it has got um, you can create an account, and within the account you can have APIs like the one. This is the
Okay, so sir,
account.
we got a question from Ankush Desai. He's
Mhm.
asking, can we change constituency later?
Well, that's a great question. Uh, the consistency, right? That is the consistency. I think I think you can change it later. I'll have to check and see. That's a good question. Consistency can be changed later or not. Consistency Cosmos DB account. Actually, that is, I will check and see. I think that there might be some limitations. You cannot. mm, oh, at any time. You can configure the default consistency level at any time. So that answers. Yeah. So another thing, like you see, if you ask me very difficult questions, I won't know, right? So the best way is to go to docs.microsoft.com and then you can get all the answers. Okay. So there is also a Cosmos DB specialization exam also, where we can see all these things. But this is a very interesting database, NoSQL database, where we can do all these type of things. So you saw also the storage account, in which how we can, what we discussed was the file shares, containers. So containers, I can create a container here. So say suppose I make one container Ambarish, 1, 2, 3, 4, create. Okay. And then I can upload a file. I've uploaded this file from my local machine. See here. So this is how I can play around and I can do. It is so very easy to do all these things. So these are the things that you can do. Um, so what we will do is that now it is 4:53. We'll take a 5 minute. Uh, we'll take a 7 minute break. 7 minutes, and we'll come back at 5. Okay, and then we'll resume again for the next session. So the next session is on modern data warehouse analytics that we'll see. Okay, so we'll take this break and come back.
So guys, until Amrish sir joins the stream, so what we can do is I can tell you about the yes. So I can tell you about the like Microsoft Azure Developer Community Quiz. So we are running 7 days, 7 domain quiz. So you can participate and take a chance to win the goodies and the Microsoft Azure portal passes. And what Amrishar is telling you right now, how to make SQL server, how to make a website running, and all these things, you can just get hands on with this because everything whatever you are doing in Azure is you have to pay for it. Okay, it's like a pay as you go subscription, so you have to pay for whatever you service you are using in Microsoft Azure. So please just participate in the quizzes and try your luck. In case you wins the quiz, you can get a chance to winning of Microsoft Azure portal passes. So do participate in the quiz. So that's it from my side. I'm just dropping the link is in your tickering in your screen, az discord bit.ly.az discord. So do participate in the quiz. The quiz will be hosted live at 9 p.m. So you have to, and the specialized quiz for Bayfikre community and for triple ITM and for Codeo community will be sorted out very soon. Your quiz will be on tomorrow after 3 p.m. So stay tuned. We will update you all through your mail. So please continuously check your mail so that you can get hands on with it. Okay. Over to you, Amish.
Hello, hello, hello. I am back. Are you guys able to hear me? Hello. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
He has been doing incredible work in research scientist work. So I'm just sharing his LinkedIn profile, which
Yes, sir, you are audible.
with all the audience. So
Okay,
please share
okay, okay,
the
okay,
LinkedIn profile is here. So
okay, okay. Chalo. So let's go to module 4, So this is explore modern data warehouse analytics. So what are the components of a modern data warehouse? Explore large scale data analytics. Start building with Power BI. What are the components, data warehousing concepts, um, data services for modern data warehousing architecture and workload, and data services in Azure portal. Okay, so they have a video here. So let's play the video. So this is a very nice video. We saw this video. We'll go into depths of it. So what we have seen the data. So there are you see that there are certain services, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Lake, Azure Databricks, Azure HD Insight, and Azure Synapse Analytics. So what is Azure Data Factory? It is a data integration service. So there are different sorts of data, and we are getting the data from the different sources. We are filtering out the noise to keep interesting data, and we can make pipelines as so that the data can be got from the online sources into the cloud. So this is the Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Lake Storage that we have seen, Azure Data Lake Storage we just made, that you can organize data into directories for improved file access. It is also supporting POSIX and RBAC permissions. It is also compatible with Hadoop distributed file system. So there is also Azure Databricks, which is a Spark-based platform, and it utilizes the security capabilities of Azure, and it can also integrate with Power BI. It is also it is very good in data processing. It is also good for streaming. And what is not written here is that it is also having machine learning capabilities also. So Azure Databricks is a very important component in the Azure ecosystem, and it is you can use it very effectively. Azure Analysis Services is something which is used for OLAP queries, and you can make cubes out of it, and this is a good tool for users, business users. Azure HD Insight it has it is also one thing that it is a big data processing service, and it gives you all the Hadoop libraries in one place. So, but this is not much in use right now because most people are moving to Spark based architectures. Uh, uh, when should you use Azure Synapse Analytics? So This is usually used for using aggregations and queries. So I think this is the first one. What is the purpose of data ingestion? So obviously the purpose is to get the data from different sources into the data warehouse, and also to get the data into the system very easily. So that is what it is. What is the primary difference between a data lake and a data warehouse? So a data lake is a place where you can store a lot of raw data, but the data warehouse will hold structured information. So this is what it is. Data lake is not storing only structured information; it can store unstructured information also. And data in a data lake as well as in a data warehouse is both dynamic. So the second part is the most appropriate. It is holding raw data as well as it is holding. Explore large scale analytics. So we'll see of how data ingestion in Azure, describe components of a data factory, describe data processing options for performing analytics in Azure, see how to use Azure Data Factory to load data into data warehouse, explore Azure Synapse Analytics. So here the Azure Data Factory can take in heterogeneous data, and then there is Polybase, in which you can access the data from the data lake, uh, from the Azure Synapse, and it is file based. And then there is SSIS, which is usually used from the on-premise systems into the cloud. So SSIS is usually used from the on-premise systems into the cloud. I'll just check once more about the SSIS part. I know it is from the on-premise systems, but let me check whether hmm, not only I think it can be used in the cloud, but nowadays people are not using SSIS. It is slightly older technology. So these are the things which is being used. So there is a link service. You can link it from a data lake store. You can link it from Azure Databricks. There are activities which are acting through the link service, and then you can create a pipeline to put it into a data set, and the triggers can start a pipeline. They can start a pipeline in the Azure Data Factory, and you can have parameters, and there is an integration runtime which is there in the Azure Data Factory also. There is control flow. So a little bit more details about all these things. So it can incorporate Azure Databricks into the pipeline. The pipeline can pass parameters, and you can use Data Factory to use all these things. Most important thing is that these are the different ways in which you can, what are the different components of the Azure Data Factory. Note here, this is the trigger. It can trigger the pipeline so that it can be, the trigger can be time based. All these things can be there, or it can be something, an Azure function can trigger the pipeline. So these are the ways in which you can do it. The next part is the Azure Synapse Analytics. So Azure Synapse Analytics, it has got three parts. There is a SQL pool, there is a Synapse Studio, there is a Synapse Spark, there is Synapse Pipelines, and there is Synapse Link. So Synapse Link, if you see, uh, there is a direct connection from Cosmos DB to Synapse. So that is through the Synapse link, and it can perform real-time analytics on operational data. Synapse pipeline is something like, I would say, a data factory in which it is a pipeline kind of thing. And the SQL pool is one in which you can do SQL queries, and the Spark pool is there in which you can run Spark, Apache Spark to process the data. So this is a busy slide. So I'll repeat once again. Synapse link is meant for connection to the Cosmos DB. Synapse pipeline is just like Azure Data Factory. There are pipelines in which you can process the data. Synapse SQL is in which you can run SQL queries, and Synapse Spark is a Spark engine where you can run Apache Spark, things like you can code in Python, Scala, and all these type of things. Which component of Azure Data Factory can be triggered to run data ingestion tasks? We had seen this. So that is the most important thing. That is a pipe. Mm, that is a pipeline. When might you use Polybase? You can use Polybase when you are querying external data sources from Azure SQL database. Which of these services can be used to ingest data into Azure Synapse Analytics? Power BI is not, because it is a visualization tool. Azure Data Active Directory is not. Azure Data Factory is the one. You have a large amount of data held in files in Azure Data Lake Storage. You want to retrieve the data in these files and use to populate tables held in Azure Synapse Analytics. Which processing option is most appropriate? Okay, so Synapse Link is not used because Synapse Link is only for Cosmos DB. You can use Synapse SQL, yes. Synapse Spark Pool also you can use, but here Spark SQL Pool is. Which of the components of Azure Synapse Analytics allows you to train AI models using Azure ML? So Azure ML, right? So here Spark has very good integration with Azure ML. So this Synapse Spark is going to be used. In Azure Databricks, how do you change the language a cell uses? I think you can make the first line in the cell as percent language. So that's how you can change it. Next lesson is getting started with Power BI. So we'll learn about how Power BI. So Power BI is a data visualization tool, and it can connect to many data sources. So this is what. So you can use a Power BI desktop in which you can make these Power BI things. Then the Power BI service is used. We'll see what is a Power BI service. There is an online SaaS service which is called a Power BI service, and then there are Power BI apps are there for Windows, iOS, and Android. So mobile is there for all these things. Anatomy of a Power BI app. So there are visualizations. There are data sets which are here. The data sets are here. The reports, you can get the reports. This is the dashboard, and the tiles are there. So let's pause a bit and see what is the visualization. So the visualization is like the chart and all these things. Data set is a collection of data that the Power BI uses to create its visualizations. That is the actual data that is to create its visualizations. I'll make this big. Oh, and the report is visualizations that appear together in one or more pages. And when you are ready to share a single page from a report, then you are creating a dashboard, and the dashboard is a collection of visuals from a single page which you can share with. A tile is a single visualization on a report. So this is one single visualization is a report. That's this a tile. So these are the different things that is there. What is the common flow of activity in Power BI? So so let's suppose if you don't know, if you just don't see the answer, how will you do it? You will first bring the data and you will build the data, then you will create a report, and then you will show the report and distribute the report, right? So if you see these answers, you can see this one is the most easy answer. Bring the data into Power BI desktop and create a report. You share it to the Power BI service and view and interact with reports and dashboards into the service and Power BI mobile. So this is what it is. So if I go and see it, so this is the answer. Which of the following are the building blocks of Power BI? So building blocks, what we have seen is visualizations. Uh, are there data sets? Are there reports? Are there dashboards and tiles? Are there, which we have seen. A collection of ready-made visuals pre-arranged in dashboards and reports is called what in Power BI? It is an app. Okay, more or less this completes our 4 sessions. I think we have this was very easy section, so we have completed it, and I have not taken much of your time, and hopefully you have enjoyed it. And what we'll have to do is that if we will have your email IDs, right, Lakshit? We'll have email IDs, because what I would need is that I would need to fill up some feedback forms from some people. Okay, so Lakshit, if you can come and confirm that whether we have the email IDs of some people or not.
Yes, sir. We have the email IDs of each and every one because at the time of registrations, they have submitted the email IDs. So, no
Okay,
issues, sir. We can get the feedback as well. We'll circulate a mail that please fill
I
the
will.
feedback form.
You have to give me. What I'll tell you is that I will request you for the Varun. So Varun is here. So Varun, what I'll do is that I will circulate a mail to Sarthak maybe, and
Yeah.
I'll have to send a survey link. Okay, and then you will have to fill up. So not many people I require. So at least I it would be nice to have that. and
Sure, sir. We'll
and
do it.
uh, and thank you for listening and giving your time on a Saturday afternoon. And make sure, please give the exam. And in Microsoft Learn also there is, I would strongly suggest that if you go to Microsoft Learn, and if you go to certifications, if you browse certifications, and if you say DP 900, here you will have this page Azure, and here you will have all these courses. All whatever I have taught is everything is here, so you can do this course on your own, practice it on your own, and make sure you give the test. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, thank you so much, appreciate everybody's time. Hope you had a good time listening, and the demos might would was useful. And if you give this certification, please let me know of how you have done, and make sure that once you give this, don't stop, go ahead and do more, learn more, and enjoy the thing. Thank you.
Yeah. That was the one of the best piece of advice you can give to a learner, that never stop learning.
Mhm.
Once you achieve one milestone,
Okay,
just
okay, thank you then, Varun. So
yeah.
I'll sign off. Hmm, hmm,
Thank you very much, sir, for coming here and delivering such a nice boot camp for 2 days. And thank you, everyone, for being such a lovely audience and spending your weekend with us and learning. So stay tuned with us for more such upcoming boot camps. Thank you very much. Good night.
hmm.
Tata. Bye bye.
Good night, good night, thank you.